Hi, it's Allison, and we're going to talk about the 10 books I most want to read by the end of the year. These are books that I'm prioritizing above all of the rest. It doesn't mean that they're the only books I'm going to read by the end of the year. It just means they're the books that I'm definitely going to read by the end of the year. I'm sure you have some too, so put those down in the comments as I share mine with you. At number 10, I have Dissolution by Nicholas Binge. This book has me so excited for a couple reasons. One is that it's a sci-fi with a super engaging premise to me. It is the idea that someone might be stealing your memories. The second reason I'm really interested in reading this one in particular is because there are two older protagonists in this book, and I feel like we don't get older protagonists a lot. I think oftentimes we have so many younger teenage 20s, 30s people in books that I like the representation of this older couple. The idea of this book is this woman is with her husband, and her husband has dementia or something like that. So she thinks he's losing his memories in kind of a natural way, but they discover that her husband might actually know something and he might be losing his memories in a way that's a little bit less biological. This sounds fascinating to me, and I'm super excited for this one. In ninth place, I have a manga, and that is Tombs by Junji Ito. You might have seen his manga in the background of a lot of my different videos. I'm a huge fan of his horror style, and they're just books that I love to read. And I was given this one by a family member for Christmas, and it's short and easy to read, and I still haven't gotten to it yet. And it takes the least amount of time of everything on my list. So I'm just excited to delve back into this world, enjoy some of the horrific images that it will definitely have, and explore some more manga. Number 8 is The Last Argument of Kings by Jo Abercrombie. This is the last book in the First Law trilogy. I have read the first two, and I have enjoyed the character work that Jo Abercrombie does so much. And I'm so excited to get to the ending of this trilogy. Another reason why I am super interested in finishing it is because the first book is definitely a little slow, and I know that a lot has been built up for there to be some crazy events, winners and losers, so to speak, in the third book, and I'm excited to see who those are. Number 7 is The Pretender. This came out this year. It's a historical fiction book that had a premise that was really engaging to me, and that's why I want to read it. There is this boy who is raised as a commoner. Later on, he finds out he's like the son of a duke or something, but beyond that, he is the rightful heir to the throne. So we have a commoner boy who is having to learn how to navigate court politics and the different machinations that nobles might have, and it's supposed to be kind of funny. And I imagine it will be funny because that is just a funny premise, and I'm hoping that this is going to be a really good time. Number 6 is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. I read and really enjoyed Six of Crows earlier this year, which is a YA heist type fantasy novel. Not only was the first book a heist, but it had an enemies love story, and it was just super fun to see everything that was happening. Another element of it was that there was like this drug that made the magic users in this world more powerful, but also more unstable. The first book obviously left us with some loose ends, so I'm excited to finish the duology and firmly form my opinion on the duology altogether. Number 5 is The Nightingale by Kristen. I know that she does a lot of good representation for women in history, and I know that this one revolves around World War II. I'm obviously a woman, and I love history, and I would love to delve into this world where these women are being strong in a period of turmoil in World War II. And I know that it has crazy high reviews, so I need to give Kristen Hanna a try and see if I like her books. Number 4 is Divine Rivals, and the reason I want to read this one so much is because I recently read a bunch of romance books, and I discovered that I tend to like romance books that include magical realism. This is a YA romance with magical realism. I think the whole idea is that this girl is writing letters to her brother. She puts them, I don't know, it's some like piece of furniture or something. I don't remember. So she puts the letters somewhere for her brother to read them, but they actually get like magically sent to a rival at another newspaper. I think they're both writers, and he reads her letters that are meant for her brother. and I think it's supposed to be romantic and sweet and cute, and I definitely need some of that in my life. So by the end of the year, I definitely want to get to Divine Rivals and see what all the hype is about. Number 3 is a pick to preserve my ego, and that is Wicked. After the first musical came out, the first half of the musical, I was just like everyone else, and I went to Barnes & Noble and I bought a ridiculously pretty copy of Wicked, and I was like, I'm gonna read this because I thought this was so fun and I want to know what happens because I'd never actually seen the musical before. And I feel like everyone fell for this. Barnes & Noble probably made so much money off of everyone buying these books and puzzles and coloring books and all those different things. And I wonder how many of us just have a copy sitting on our shelf. So by the end of the year, I need to read this to both see if I enjoy it, because I think that there's a lot of opinions on the internet about Wicked. I'm interested. But also just to preserve that ego so I don't have a huge hit about buying pretty books I don't read. Number 2 and number 1 are books that I put in this placement because they are long and I want to make sure that I really pressure myself into reading them because they are series that I am enjoying so much this year. The number 2 pick is The Gate of the Feral Gods, which is number 4 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I loved the first 3 books. They were probably my favorite find so far of 2025. And it's just so fun to be able to go through all these adventures with Carl. If you don't know what Dungeon Crawler Carl is yet, I will tell you the basics because you're missing out. Dungeon Crawler Carl follows Carl, who one night goes out to chase after his ex-girlfriend's cat, Donut. He's still taking care of the cat because it's a very recent breakup. And as he goes outside in the middle of the night, all the buildings around him disappear into the ground. There's like a voice in the air and it tells everyone that they can go through a bunch of layers of the dungeon, and their best opportunity is getting down to the bottom. So he goes into the dungeon with the cat. The cat becomes sentient, and they go through all these adventures that eventually lead them onto an alien reality TV show. That sounds pretty wild, but it is such a fun concept. It gets a lot more depth than you would expect it to, and it is so worth the read, and it's fun the entire time too. You're laughing. And like I said, the number 1 placement is just to pressure and shame myself into reading the longest book currently on my TBR, so it needs to be put number 1. And that is Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. I have read the first 3 books in the Stormlight Archive. I read the 2nd book and the 3rd book this year, so I say I'm doing pretty good. But I just want to keep up that momentum because I don't like it when I put so much time in between continuing a series to the moment that I forget about it. And Brandon Sanderson builds such complex magic systems and also political systems. There's decent romance in this book. It's hard to pitch because it's just so massive in scale. But if you have the patience to go through 1,000 plus long page books, honestly, they're probably 1,200 plus pages if I remember correctly, it's worth it. There's definitely a lot of good characters in here. There's some really strong female characters, and I'm completely loving this, and I need to continue on and read book 4 so then I could read book 5 and be waiting like everyone else is. Maybe I shouldn't rush it. I don't know. But I'm definitely reading book 4 this year at the very least. Might need to get an audiobook because it is a lot. So those are the 10 books I want to read this year. Down in the comments, tell me what books you are prioritizing to read by the end of the year. I'm interested in your taste as well and in what is most exciting to you at the moment. If you want to see if I actually read what I say I'm going to read, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and see you in another video.